Shing.
I don't have any knives. Fingers will do.
Shing, shing. I mean, shing, shing, shing.
To be fair,
Snick,
fingers are probably stronger than...
Hey, bub.
Okay, this can be an unusual
I got these
critique.
Came from the pound shop. Our silverware did. They were clean, though. I took them out of the drawer.
Well, they were clean. This can be an unusual Backseat critique because Omega did not go to see Logan.
I heard it was depressing, and I have like 2 essays and a presentation this month.
So she's sitting in basically, so I have someone to bounce back from while we talk about the film. She's gonna ask questions. She's gonna ask for clarifications and stuff because I am really boring as fuck when I'm by myself talking to a camera. Okay.
We could like dial a lifeline and call Robin and be like, quickly, crimes, and then put him on speaker.
Anyway, yes, it was very depressing, very, very depressing. It was very good. I have issues with it, but the fact that I feel that as a film it works, as connected with the rest of the X-Men film universe, it doesn't work. It feels disjointed when connected to the other ones. So for my own sanity, I'm having to assume it's an alternate reality from any of the other ones.
Do you want to know a great thing that I saw on Facebook relating to the trailer?
Mm-hmm.
So you know how it's the Johnny Cash version of Hurt?
Yeah.
I actually bought that album when it came out because I was like, wow, that's really cool. But someone was saying, and it was like one of those things that got said on Tumblr, and then like someone screenshotted it and posted it to Facebook, and it was shared on a viral thing. It's like, wow, the band from the trailer in Logan is really awesome. And someone's like, Johnny Cash? And the person's like, yeah, well, I want to go to their next concert. Well, he died. And then someone's like, well, 9 Inch Nails is still around. And the person's like, 9 Inch Nails, who is that? And then there was like the Picard facepalm gif. And I was like, who do you think wrote that? The person was like, Michael Jackson? ? And then someone's like, I don't want to live on this planet anymore. .gif.
To be fair, Trent Reznor said that Johnny Cash owns the song after he heard the cover.
Fair play. But, I mean, like, yeah. I mean, the first time I heard Hurt, I was like, my God. That has, like, moved to the top of my, like, super emo, whiny playlist. It, like, knocked Mad World down one...
I would love... Okay, just as a random thing of cover versions that will never happen, but
I never did Heroin, though. I was in emo, like, 20-something, just doing... I wasn't even emo.
It was so long
I was
ago,
just kind of whiny.
It was pre-emo, because it wasn't really a thing then.
Yeah, I met some lesbians online who, like, tried to introduce me to emo, and I'm like, I don't understand why this 14-year-old white boy rock is popular, because can't empathize with it. Like, I thought this one girl was called Juliana for the longest time, because her tag on AIM, that's how long ago this was Juliana Theory. And apparently that's what was, like, one of the founding emo bands.
Ah, okay.
But anyway, Wolverine.
Cover versions that really should exist. Imagine a cover version of Hurt by the Bee Gees. That would be so funny.
That's the kind of thing I could see Postmodern Jukebox doing.
Okay, the other one, this is the best cover album ever. Okay, you got that one. This is one I thought, at the time, when Johnny Cash was still alive and he was occasionally doing these albums of like cover versions which you wouldn't expect, I wanted to hear him cover Edwin Starr's War. What is it good for? Yeah. Imagine that.
That'd be pretty good.
That would be so awesome.
See, I can't think of Hurt without thinking of that night we went to Jocelyn's in Media, because there was your man who was a Johnny Cash impersonator, sang Ring of Fire and Hurt. And then we saw a band, and it really, 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 really annoys me because I can't find anything about them online, but they were a local band, and they were called P.T. Lovecraft. And, like, I can't even describe them. Like, one guy was, like, an evil Harry Potter, and he was called, like, Harry Cooter or something like that. And they all had, like, alternate, like, identities, like, superhero kind of thing. But, they had a song called Alarm Cock, because it wakes you up, and then there was a song about being hit by a bag full of cocks, and they actually had a big sack with, like, plushy cocks inside that they would hit the audience with.
Okay.
You've been hit by a bag full of cocks. And I can't find anything about them online. This was maybe like 2002 or 3 in Media, Pennsylvania. They played at Jocelyn's. They were called P.T. Lovecraft, and I can't find anything on Google if you know Write the Show.
I also would like to hear a cover of Bohemian Rhapsody done by the Sex Pistols. That would be really funny.
Aren't they dead?
Only one of them's dead.
Okay. The important one's dead.
No, Sid Vicious is the least important member of the Sex Pistols.
No.
He's the only one who had no musical ability whatsoever.
The only punk song that I think that I know off the top of my... I know that the Ramones exist, but I was never a big fan.
Yeah, they're all or mostly dead.
Rancid had a good song called Ruby Soho that I kind of liked.
There's a bunch of good punk. But anyway, Logan.
See, you brought me here to talk. You shouldn't have done that.
This is... I feel that
really need to have this
it's disjointed because there's too many continuity errors. Because...
Yeah, but isn't that a thing in comics? Isn't that like, but this was the
fifth
dimension of...
It's a what-if rather than a new issue of the same comic series. It's the same characters in an alternate reality.
That happens every 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Captain America's in Hydra now. Everyone loses their fucking mind. I don't see why. It'll be different by the end of the next issue. And there you go.
He's still in Hydra, I believe, in the comics. But, for instance...
The Where's the Frog now?
That was a one-off issue. I did a Renegade Cunt ages ago, talking about how the end of X-Men Days of Future Past is secretly horrifying. And a small part of that video explained how...
Okay, go on.
Explained how Wolverine Prime Wolverine, the guy who you follow in the X-Men films.
Don't worry, Bumblebee, it's me, Wolverine Prime, as voiced by Peter.
Watch that video. I explained that he seems to be some sort of bad penny for the universe, because for the 50 years where he wasn't inhabiting the body, where it was an alternate version of Wolverine, and then he took over the body at the end of Days of Future Past, he made a really good deal of himself. Jean was still alive, everyone was still alive, Cyclops and all, none of the Phoenix shit happened. The world was really good. And then original Wolverine takes over the body, and
everything goes.
And then, yes,
life comes at you fast.
Within like 4 years, the entire X-Men universe has gone to shit. So, apart from everything else, Wolverine is either this bad penny I described, and he's like some sort of cosmic, he should be killed for the good of everyone else, or this is an alternate reality. I can't really, put it in my mind that having them both, having him not be this thing.
Multiverse.
Well, yeah, it's an alternate reality. Apart from everything else.
I really liked the first X-Men movie. We went to go see it, and I came out of it being like, I really like that. And everyone's like, well, I thought you weren't into comics. I'm like, I know, but like as a gay person, I feel that speaks to me. I feel like this is a metaphor for people who are gay. And everybody, and the person who gave me the most shit about this theory is now like gender fluid, like 2017. And I'm like,
Well,
just saying.
Yeah, X-Men comics at the time were about homosexuality. They sort of graduated from being about race.
Yeah, but I didn't know that at the time.
And in X-Men 2, which was better than X-Men 1, there's the scene where Iceman has to come out as being a mutant to his parents, and the mum's like, have you tried not being a mutant? But, okay. There's just so many disconnections with the rest of the universe. You've got... for some reason, Professor Xavier has no money anymore. He killed 7 X-Men. We know that. There was...
Well, honey, this takes place in 2029, right?
Yeah, like 4 years after the end of Days of Future Past.
Yeah, so, like, the ACA is gone. You said he's sick, right? He's used up his incredible fortune just to pay for, like, sutures and, like, oxygen. And you guys are gonna live in a post-apocalyptic wilderness. But you can come sleep on our floor if you want and be on the NHS. But
he, apparently... 2 or 3 years after the Days of Future Past, the professor he has suffering from some sort of Alzheimer's-ish type thing, a neurological thing, and...
Degenerative neurological disorder?
Yes. And...
Well, it could just be senile dementia. I mean, that's a thing that can happen to anybody.
No, they state it's a specialized thing. Basically, he's losing control.
Okay.
And so... His first big attack of that... You know how in X-Men, in their old films, he would be able to hold people in place? Mm-hmm. He does that, but without meaning to, but they're conscious and they can't breathe. And until he gets drugged with this particular thing that basically, or knocked unconscious, which I assume the first time he was knocked unconscious rather than drugged with a specialist drug. Mm-hmm. And it went on for so long that 600 people were injured and 7 people were killed. 7, they state in the radio that it was 4 members of the X-Men. We don't know who it was, but I'm guessing Jean was involved. And so...
Make me go Phoenix on your ass.
All that shit happened, and as a side effect, Wolverine and Professor Xavier and Caliban, who was last seen in the X-Men movies...
What the fuck is that?
He had a small part in X-Men Apocalypse where he was German, and this one he's English, and it's
Tell
50
me he
years
has
later.
maracas. I don't know why, but I feel like he should have maracas and wear that Hawaiian shirt.
No, he's an albino who has the ability...
And he plays the steel drums.
He's an albino who has the ability to detect other mutants and track them. So, and Caliban actually, in a weird way, ended up.
Oh, it's because Calabash.
No, Caliban is in the.
No. There's down in North Carolina on the Outer Banks. There's this really big, huge tourist shop called Calabash, and they sell like shells and tropical things.
No,
and that's why I was making that association.
No, it's a reference to the Tempest.
I'm just saying.
But
I have a shell that says Calabash.
And this is one of the reasons I don't think it's actually in the same continuity. Is Caliban turned up in X-Men Apocalypse being German, and this one, 50 years later, he's English and the same guy. So either part of his mutation is that he changes nationality.
There's an EU joke in there
age.
somewhere, but
he's changed his nationality and doesn't age, or it's a different continuity. Plus, Professor Xavier, he has no money.
It was
what the
all
fuck happened?
alright, Professor, until the Brexit came.
So
He's cold, that's why he's like that.
So, concluding, Professor Xavier, alternate reality. And as a film, it's a little bit disjointed too, because you've got Professor Xavier with Alzheimer's causing damage and mayhem and stuff like that. That's a really good idea. That shouldn't be in this film. That should be in a film concentrated with McKellen.
Yeah. Because you were telling me we had dinner before we did this, and you're saying and they have to go and hide, and I'm like, well, where's Magneto? Because I could totally see him being like, don't worry, old friend, we have fought for our entire lives, but I won't let you go out like this. I've used some of my ill-gotten crime money to keep you alive and in a lovely house.
Yeah, the most natural part of that storyline with Professor Xavier is for Magneto to either be by his side helping protect him because he's his best friend, he's hetero life mates. Or, honestly, it should be a case of the last running X-Men trying to protect Professor Xavier, and Professor and Magneto coming to fucking euthanize him because he doesn't want to see his friend like that. Plus, he is dangerous.
It could have been potentially a thing at one point, but maybe Ian McKellen just health-wise wasn't up to filming. No,
McKellen was.
Oh,
it was just they wanted to make this the Wolverine thing.
Great.
And then you got the aging Wolverine going on a road trip type thing, which was from Old Man Logan, obviously, but that should not have happened so soon after End of Days of Future Past. I mean, everything's gone to shit for the entire world, all of mutant kind, Wolverine, Professor Xavier, and everything else.
That's
all
what
at
happens
once.
when you vote for Donald Trump in a world without the Avengers.
Although Trump would be out of office by then. But
he already ruined it.
Because you got all this shit happening at once. If you're doing the Old Man Logan thing, I know this isn't the case in the comic, but it would make much more sense if it's set about 150 years later, and then you could do full-on Mad Max dystopian thing where, with random cyborgs, because, there's a bunch of cyborgs in this. The Reavers, who were in the comic. But putting them together...
Isn't this technically set 12 years in the future?
Set in 2029,
I want to be a cyborg. Except not like the Ghost in the Shell go mad kind of way. So...
sticking them together, it just doesn't work for me, having the Old Man Logan so soon after, and then the Professor Xavier thing. Because Professor Xavier's most important relationship in the entire thing, in the comics and the films, is not with Wolverine.
Who is with Jean?
It's with Magneto.
Oh.
Those two...
I thought you meant, like, mentor to X-Men kind of thing.
No, just overall, his most important relationship with anyone is Magneto. And, if you look at the majority of the X-Men films... Even though Wolverine, for some reason, is the main character, it's actually the story of two guys who really should just kiss.
Yeah, but they're like best bros on social media.
Yeah,
that makes me happy.
It's a real misstep to make Professor Xavier's last thing not be involving Magneto. And allegedly...
maybe we find out that Magneto died in a horrible kind of way.
They never state...
And that was the trauma. It was the trauma.
Given they state there's so few mutants left, and apparently Caliban at some point was being hired to hunt down mutants by the government, it's probable that he is dead. It's just...
And that was... I bet there's a deleted scene where he finds out, and that's what sets the whole thing off. He was on the edge, but then... It's always about the trauma. I'm telling trauma changes the brain. Google it. It's true.
But Movie Bob stated the film, it's really interesting because it's about disappointment, and it actually is deliberately disappointing for the audience because it doesn't involve the stuff you'd expect, which makes it thematically really appropriate, but not many films do it, and I can totally see that. It's just, I feel that it doesn't hang together quite right. This is also, and this is hilarious.
It was really depressing, but this is hilarious.
No, this little factoid. This film is at least partially a remake of X-Men Origins Wolverine, but in a different order. Like, if you watch my Merlin the Return and Berserker Hell's Warrior reviews, those films are very similar, but they're in completely the wrong order and stuff. They just use a lot of similar things. Same director and writer, so it's just his style and it sort of bleeds through.
What, shitty?
No, it's just shitty in the very particular similar ways.
What's your man? The director of those?
Paul Matthews.
Yeah.
But this one, it's as though the writer of this looked at X-Men Origins Wolverine and said, you know, I'm going to troll the audience by using as much elements of this as I can.
I liked Origins Wolverine.
Yes, but honey, almost no one else did.
Well, I was entertained.
You've got, for instance...
Because it was that really great power fantasy of I'm little and weak and wee and oh my Jesus Christ, I've got claws and can survive anything. That's what I wanted in that stage in my life.
But the connections with the Origins... You've got Wolverine, obviously Wolverine main character. You've got a bunch of children who are being, taken by government people, being experimented on. You've got a fight. The final fight is with this sort of abomination, sort of killing machine thing who's being controlled by a computer and has cameras in his fucking eyes, and the evil scientist is controlling it. You've got someone getting shot in the head with an adamantium bullet. You've got all these little references. It's just like... It's like they were like, I'm just gonna put them in there, see if anyone notices. So, even Wolverine hangs out with a rural family who are really, really pleasant.
I have a question though. Right, so in the comics, like obviously because Marvel owns everybody in the actual real world, so mutants are sharing the same world as Avengers, right?
In the comics, yes.
Okay. Well, like, why don't the Avengers and all the superheroes do something about, like, all the wide-scale persecution and, like, the mutant registry and all that kind of stuff? Like, why, are the superheroes not like, wow, gee, that's not cool, humanity?
Well, in the same way, in the same fictional universe, why don't the Avengers then fix racism? It's bigotry.
Yeah, I know, but, like, I feel like at a certain point, like, Captain America, like, because what's stopping people from calling the Hulk a mutant? I mean, not everyone knows his origin story. Or Spider-Man. Spider-Man has given press constantly. Actually, I was bit by a radioactive spider.
Someone can do that. Someone can do that. Here's the thing. Unless someone is openly a mutant who's a superhero, they don't actually know they're a mutant.
They could suspect. I mean, here's the thing. We know where Captain America came from. Everyone knows he got the super serum. But, like, all these other 50 squillion Marvel heroes...
The regular Joes in the Marvel Comics universe... When they come across superpowered individuals, either it's a superhero, and therefore, okay, they're helping people, that's okay. Or it's a mutant who's just a regular person who can kill them. So... Yeah,
but like, Peter Parker's a regular person when he doesn't have the...
Yeah, but they don't know Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
No, but that's the thing. I don't know. It feels
it's bigotry doesn't...
I feel like Captain America should have been doing something.
Bigotry doesn't make much sense. And as I see it... People's context when they see a superhero is they see a superhero, and therefore they're okay with that.
Yeah, but there's like, whenever you're playing Lego Marvel, you're like, look at this person. I'm like, who is that person? Well, they were in this in 1973. And, they were, who's the one who's, like, just a club dancer or something like that? Or, you're always telling me, like, oh, well, this...
Club dancer?
Or something like that.
Dazzler?
I don't know.
Maybe she's a singer. She's actually a pop star.
But, like, yeah, but, like, stuff like that. And then you're like, oh, it just feels to me like... I feel like X-Men should have been in its own separate thing, and then the Avengers should have been their own separate thing.
Look at it this way. You've got individuals with superpowers, and you've got some of them are liked, some of them are reviled. Look at heavily racist societies.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, because the X-Men are there are heroes, they are doing heroic deeds,
they're also openly mutants.
Yes, but what's to stop someone from accusing Tony Stark of being a mutant? Like, oh, you are awfully smart, aren't you? And
he's like, motherfucker, I just got a robot suit.
Yeah, but, like, we know that Tony Stark is a genius. We know that Bruce Banner is a genius. Why is someone like, oh, the Hulk, you got your powers from gamma radiation, but you're really smart to begin with, mutant?
Haven't you ever seen the fact that racists, bigots of any stripe, will make exceptions for people that they think are one of the good ones?
I feel like that there's some kind of...
heavily bigoted societies, that does not stop them from having idols who are of the group that they hate.
Yeah, but the thing is that, like, the comics aren't real life. They're drawn by people. Yes, someone in, like, 1972 not raise their hand and say, Stanley, I have a question. I'm just saying.
I don't know if this was deliberate or not, but it actually does portray the paradox of bigotry pretty well. That some people who are indistinguishable are famous and you
Yeah,
like,
but,
and
like,
other ones who are
Hawkeye's,
not
like,
famous and you don't
Hawkeye
like.
has a farm. He's just like a normal
Only
guy.
in the films.
Like, yeah, but I mean, I just feel like some of the Avengers that like had like normal childhoods and stuff like that would be like, I'll stand up for the mutants because no one else. Like Captain America would be all over that shit. Where they're like peace and justice in the American way.
Oh,
Like
Captain America. Well, him possibly in comic universe, Captain America doesn't want to step on the mutants' toes by not fighting their fight for them. It's not his place. It's like a white guy trying to defeat racism against black people.
I don't know.
He possibly feel awkward. Or there's also
feels
the
very
fact,
uneven to me. It
there's
feels
also-
very like retcon. Like we'll just not talk about
There's
it.
also the fact that Marvel, in the comics, it does tend to have like an internal separation between the X-Men mutant section and the Avengers one. They're in the same universe, but they tend to be a little bit separated.
Yeah, like either full stop separated or don't have like people hanging out with each other.
That's why I'm perfectly fine with the fact that X-Men have their own film universe, because the X-Men film universe, it feels natural to have them completely separated. It makes it very complicated when you
holy
do them both.
shit, Magneto's blowing something up. Gee, it's a good thing Iron Man's not here to...
Although the comic has sections like where Magneto tortures the Red Skull on for days on end because he was a Nazi, things like that, which are great, but
I don't know. I feel like we need like Lewis to explain it to us. If you know someone who does like a YouTube comic book series who's done an issue or an episode about this, like
but
link
the
below
fact
in
that people
the
have double
comments.
standards for superheroes and still they're fine with superheroes and they hate mutants, I don't think that's
And what's to stop a mutant from not
unrealistic.
coming out as a mutant and be like, I'm a superhero. Was experimented on when I was a child. I had cancer or whatever."
If you're a mutant who's wearing a costume and saving people, people aren't going to know you're a mutant unless you say so.
People should not open their mouths.
But sometimes Beast was on the Avengers for the longest time.
No one noticed he was...
No, he was.
What
openly
planet
a
did you
mutant.
come from? Mars.
No, he was a mutant. He was considered one of the quote unquote good ones. But not everyone's bigoted against mutants.
Yeah, but isn't for a huge swath of the comic, wasn't like there like really extreme laws, kind of like the ones that were getting in real life for immigrants.
I mean, the
like,
Registration Act and all.
Yeah, and like
the Registration Act
and all
was
this crack, and then
the
Congress was going crazy.
the Registration
mutants
Act
couldn't marry.
The Registration Act, if I remember correctly, in the comics was the sort of thing that was threatened and it was used as a we got to stop this thing from happening.
It never actually.
I don't think if it happened, it only happened.
Oh yeah, your man.
Later on.
Because your man, the congressman, he got his in the movies. I remember that. That was very fulfilling.
Miss Kelly.
Do you know? I knew a guy back in high school. I don't want to say his name, because I don't want to dox him or anything. But he was he had a framed photograph of Richard Nixon on his bedside table, just to let you know the kind of kid this was. And he was like he had a boner for the Republican Party, and he's lost about a whole bunch of weight now, and I think he was in his Young Republicans club in uni, and I think he's trying to run for small town office back home. But we came out of there, and I was like, yeah, Senator, what's his face? Yeah, get some. And he was like, I was rooting for the senator because mutants are dangerous, and basically giving like.
Why the fuck was he in the X-Men movie?
Well, he was a friend of ours. He was in the he was in the live action roleplay group.
Yeah,
with us.
but
we pretended to be vampires.
Why the fuck would someone with?
Actually, this is better because he's look like ant mandibles.
Why would he want to see?
Ant-Man.
He's not the audience for X-Men.
He was a geek, but he was just a weird flavor of geek. Not that I ever licked him, but you know what I mean. He was the one where nobody really liked his girlfriend, but none of us really wanted to say anything, and so all the girls in my group thought that we all individually just had our own thing. We just didn't like this girl. But then one night we all had a bonding thing where I said, because I was drunk, I was like, I gotta confess, I don't like this girl. And everyone's like, oh, I thought I was the only one, and we bonded. But then after they broke up, she left him for another guy. Then he got drunk one night, and he tried to burn pictures of her against the side of his family's house. He almost burned his house down. I know this because a friend of ours was in Company 4 in the fire brigade. So small town.
Do you have any questions to ask the film or about the film? Because
was the soundtrack good?
Soundtrack was pretty forgettable actually.
Oh.
But then again, frankly, X-Men films haven't had the most unforgettable soundtrack. They tend to be all like almost every single X-Men, regular X-Men intro theme sounds like they're building to try and do an orchestral version of the classic cartoon theme from the 90s. But they never make it. They're getting there and they're like, no, it's too early. No, oh no, fuck, the intro's finished.
First video on Blip was about the X-Men comic TV show intro, and I'll never forget that fact because
it's really loud.
If I fell asleep with my laptop open back in the day and I lived in Maryland watching your videos, if I got to the too close to the end of the playlist, it would kick back and X-Men, and the cat would like. Poof.
I've got to redo that because I did that. I believe, holy shit, First Class hadn't even come out when I did that video. So I gotta redo that, and I also want to do one for Pride of the X-Men. That'd be so funny. The problem is they keep adding new X-Men films so I can take clips from it. So I'd have to, if I'm going to do it again, I'm going to have to update it every so often because there's like 12 in fucking pre-production now. And Fox, because Deadpool and Logan have done so well critically and commercially, I got the feeling they're just going to be all like, no, we're just going to give you smaller budgets and make you do R-rated stuff.
I'm fine with that.
You know,
I enjoy Deadpool.
It's fun.
I didn't think I would, and I did, so. It only takes a minute to be a hero. I like it.
Colossus is apparently dead.
Yeah, but not in Deadpool.
That's why I'm thinking alternate reality. I mean,
alternate reality in comic books?
yeah,
No.
it's gotta be. Come on, other questions.
Okay, were there any really great kitchens? I lust after other people's kitchens and houses sometimes.
The black family, the rural black family who they become friends with, they had a very nice kitchen.
Nice.
Do you want to know what happens in the film in different bits? Like, is there any particular spoilers you want to know what happens?
Well, we know everybody dies.
No, the girl
The girl
survives.
survives, yeah.
She survives, and Richter's in it. Holy fuck, Richter's in it.
Do you reckon she's gonna get her own movie?
Well, the director wants to do a spin-off with her.
That's pretty
although
cool.
she's only 11, so. But
yeah, but like she probably has like SAG membership and all that.
In the comics, X-23 was I believe at least 14, 15. She actually originated in, like Harley Quinn, she originated in a cartoon.
Oh, cool.
She originated in X-Men Evolution.
See, I would watch a Harley Quinn movie if it was voiced by the girl from...
Arlene Sorkin?
Yes, from the animated series. Or Tara Strong if it has to be, because apparently she's really good too. So.
Yeah, Arlene Sorkin, she decided she retired after Arkham Asylum.
J.
And she let, I believe Tara Strong does it now.
See, here's the thing.
But,
I'm not gonna go off about DC. We're talking about Marvel. I'm not gonna go off about Suicide Squad.
But,
Later.
They even had to, apparently, someone thought it was a continuity error that Professor Xavier suddenly has wisps of hair in the back of his thing. And I was like, dude, he shaves the sides of his head. Why is this confusing? And
Well,
then
in canon, it was just had no hair. His power from his hair fall out or something.
in the comic, yes. In the film, in Apocalypse, apparently, that one was baldness, of X-Men, Baldness Begins, where you find out that he gained his baldness because he was partly possessed by Apocalypse and it made his powers go into overdrive, which is okay, that's fucking stupid.
Remember, kids, psychic powers causes alopecia.
So they decided because he's losing his ability, so he's losing his control, that his
And
hair started growing
back.
back. And I'm just like, oh fucking hell. He's disheveled and old and living in a fucking upturned water tank in Mexico. He stopped shaving the back of his head.
I saw a really great picture on Facebook today of Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart hugging, and I thought that was good. Hugh Jackman is in his 50s? 60s?
I think
in the 50s.
He was like mid-30s when he started playing Wolverine 17 years ago. So he's probably early 50s.
Early 50s, okay. Well, you can't tell with some people because some people don't really age. Like, some people just look how they look all the time. Like, I maintain that until the day he died, like, John Hurt lived his whole entire life from, like, the age of a toddler as an old man. I don't care if we have actual footage of him as a young man. I refuse to believe it.
There was footage of him as a young man in Doctor Who. They digitally used some footage of him for whenever he was regenerated from Paul McGann in Night of the Doctor. They used Paul McGann's hand, and they used like either a video footage or a photo of him to show his reflection. But any other question? Because it's a really good film.
Do people die in like really R-rated kind of ways? Like,
yes.
Like
it is
claws to the dick.
It was lovely to finally see Wolverine bloody action in the sort of way that you had in the comic. Because I don't ever understood why comic books were allowed to have a level of violence that films and all were not. It was like
because the comics code was a thing.
It was a thing that was got rid of. Basically, Stan Lee was like, "No, fuck you, I'm doing a thing about drugs," and then the comics code like, "Oh no, we're being ignored," and it fell to the wayside. But in the comics, like there was the Weapon X series, which is one of the most brilliantly brutal Wolverine stories, where it was basically what happened. How, where he was being experimented on, gets the adamantium, goes nuts, kills everyone, and then escapes into the wilderness.
An alkaline lake.
That was not in the comics, that was just in the film.
That's a really, really great name for like a horrible lake. Oh no, DualShock 4 is coming.
Anyway, that one is brutal as fuck, and the films never did that. Never understood why it's okay for kids to see violence if it's still images, but it's not if it's live action or a cartoon. It made no sense. But this one, you finally get to see it. So you got body parts flying off, guys getting hit through the head. You got, like I was explaining, Professor Xavier's seizures cause people to still, and they're conscious but they can't move. So Wolverine, that happens, and he's outside. He's sort of having to get right through the hotel to try and get to Professor Xavier. And of course, when he gets to the actual room after using his claws to crawl across the hallway, he fight the poor guys who are they got guns trained to Professor Xavier. They were trying to take the girl hostage, and the guy's looking. He's like, oh shit, I can't move. But he just sees Wolverine very slowly stabbing him in the head and everything, and the plan of the villains is a bit confused too because
they wanted the girl to experiment on her.
No, they already experimented. Basically, after they used evil corn syrup to make the mutant genes nearly extinct, which is why no new mutants are being born.
Are you being facetious or you actually
that's
put corn syrup?
They used GMO corn and in corn syrup, which people drank it and it suppressed their mutant genes, so no new ones were being born.
It was a secret plot of Magneto's...
No, Richard E. Grant.
No, what? Monsanto, so Magneto Santo. That's what I was trying to think of.
And he...
it's all about the GMOs.
So... Then they decided their next step of the plan was when there's no natural mutants being born, then they were killing mutants and capturing them and sort of using their DNA, and then they were growing children from harvested, impregnated into Mexican, because it was done in Mexico. Take the DNA of mutants, insert them into, and have basically clones or children of those ones, and they would train them to be weapons. But that didn't work out pretty well.
So who was America's enemy for this? Were we just doing it for the crack?
Oh, the evils.
The evils.
And
those evil foreign countries. Not Mexico, apparently.
Oh no, it's the lols, but evils.
And we're doing it for the lols.
The girl was genetically was taken from Wolverine's DNA, and so... But then...
How did they get his DNA?
Well, they got it from the Alkali Lake thing from Weapon X.
They was buried
Richard E. Grant's dad was working on Weapon X. Anyway, they were growing these kids and they were planning to turn them into super soldiers.
Because this is always the best plan. Seriously, do this, evil government.
But they decided that didn't work right. It wasn't working right. So then they were going to kill them all. So then the head nurse basically released all the kids and told them to meet up at this part in North Dakota. And
you've lived in a facility all your life. Go to North Dakota. The fuck's that?
And then, so she is with the girl and trying to get Logan to take them to North Dakota. But then the guys keep following them and they keep wanting to grab the girl or kill her, but they never try to kill her, even though they were going to kill her to begin with. And then they find the other kids and they capture them rather than kill them, even though they're supposed to kill them. It's
do the
confused.
kids end up living?
Yeah. Okay. They all escape.
Because sequel.
And the leader of those kids is Richter, who was Wolfsbane's boyfriend in the comics before he decided he was gay. But then they decided, okay, the kids don't work anymore. They're not going to be good super soldiers because, they're children. So they decided they do full-on cloning, and that's where this evil version of Wolverine comes out, where you've got this really spectacular Ant-Man or Civil War, de-aging on Hugh Jackman to make him play evil Wolverine. Wolverine basically as Liv Shriver's Sabretooth, if he had the personality of Sabretooth in X-Men 1. And I can't help but think that probably should have just been Sabretooth, because then you could have had some closure to their relationship.
They die in each other's arms. Claws and claws.
But, so, yeah, I really would have liked them to... Like X-Men First Class, it's a good film, but it's been created from two different good films, and I really wish that they'd been two different good films. Like with First Class, the greatest problem, the greatest horror that X-Men Origins Wolverine bestowed upon the world was the fact that everyone hated it so much that X-Men Origins Magneto was dropped.
Oh, that would have been really awesome, just watching him run around Mossad style, just killing Nazis.
That was the plan. It was going to be Magneto hunting down Nazis in South America, becoming friends with Professor Xavier.
I'd watch the fuck out of that.
That eventually evolved into First Class, mainly the first half of First Class, and it's really sad that First Class, while it's really good, we could have got 2 fucking awesome X-Men films, but we got one sort of slightly disjointed one jammed together.
The one about Japan, I didn't see them.
Well, the Wolverine was good. It was
Well,
the same guy did Logan.
It was on one of the times that I was coming to see you, one of the transatlantic overnight flights. It was on, but I didn't have had my iPod on, so I only saw like bits of it.
Well, it was good.
I know apparently like your man shelters from like an atomic blast that totally wouldn't work that way.
Yep. Anyway, I hope. Sorry for the fact that this was so crappy and disjointed because I'm terrible when I'm trying to explain things.
I tried to be funny and wacky and.
You did well.
Zany in a way that only Robin the Minion can, except for I haven't committed any crimes this week. Ever.
But good to see Logan. It was good.
And you did not get the Deadpool.
No, we did not get the Deadpool
Even
teaser.
though I saw Film Brain say on Twitter that it looked like it was going to be a thing in the UK.
No,
well,
we did not see it.
Maybe just in England or something.
But see you guys later.
Bye.
Ah!